Going to talk about communicating in an emergency, and then we're going to wrap the whole thing up. I'm just interested here. I went down to the local radio station on Monday and did a little bit about 8:30 in the morning. Did any of you hear that? Did anybody hear that on the radio station? No, that's interesting. I was talking to myself. That's interesting to know. Well, let me tell you a little bit about the Morgan County Emergency Communications Network. We are, we're not a first responder. We're kind of like the last responder. And let me explain to you what that means. And that means that in the case that nothing else works, we are the ones who provide communications to our community. This is a kind of a classic kind of situation that when there's a large disaster of one sort or another, one of the first things that happen is all of the communications, that's the standard communications go down. And like somebody was talking to me this morning saying, well, what do you, Craig from the Red Cross was saying, well, how do you call your people to help when there's an emergency if there's no communications? Well, that's the problem. And that's part of the reason why we've given away over 100 radios to different families here. And then we're ultimately going to give away as many as 200 radios so that no matter what the situation is, whether the cell phones work or anything else, the telephones, we can communicate with each other. And that's the lifeblood. That's the fabric of a community and being able to respond. And so that's what we're going to do. But that's the MCECN, when nothing else works, we own that trademark, essentially, literally. And you'll start to see it on a number of locations and things that we do. And we are essentially amateur radio operators. Not everybody, because anybody that's interested in this general response is certainly welcome to be a part of what we do. But most of us are ham radio operators. If you haven't heard about that, if you don't realize that amateur radio is synonymous with ham radio, and if you ask me why do they call it ham radio, nobody knows. And so it's just the way it is. And but anyway, the unique thing about amateur radio is that we all have our own independent radio stations. They don't go through the internet. They don't go through the local government. They don't go through the federal government, on a day-to-day basis. That we have independent communications. And we have a very warm relationship, our organization, with the county commission. And the county commission, the county has given us 2 towers on the highest mountains around here, and we're putting up all kinds of antennas and repeaters and things so that if everything else goes down, we've got some communications, and we're tied directly to the Emergency Operations Center, which is down next to the 911 building, in the 911 building next to the courthouse. And so they manage the disaster, if you will, and we're an integral part of that. We are exactly the same. We have the same relationship with the county as the fire department and the EMS guys, and we have the same memorandum of understanding. And so we're really pleased, and we're blessed, frankly, to have that kind of relationship with this county, because there are a whole lot of places around this country that don't have that going for them. And so we've got towers and repeaters, and this is what we're trying to do here is to extend into the community the ability to organize and respond to disasters. So it's not just us, that we have this network, this relationship broadly. Now, let me tell you that when we first proposed this and had our last meeting, what was it, last fall, we had over 400 people that signed up for that. And we were happily surprised with that, and that was the start of what this is, the Kickoff. We essentially started and named a new program. It's got this logo up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen up there, and that is where we're going here. Just to finish up quickly, our new headquarters, the county has built a new emergency response building up behind where the War Memorial Hospital used to be, up about Pines on the mountain. Here's a picture of it here, and you're looking at our end of it. We have a third of that, and we're throughout the summer going to be building our headquarters with operating space and, connection with antennas and storage and place to put some of our rolling stock and so on. And so it's really going to be nice. We also have plans for putting up other towers around our community, Hancock, down at Great Kickapan, Pawpaw. So we will cover the whole county with emergency communications, and we'll tie that together into the network and the radios that you all have. We've got a new WinLink kind of station that's up and running. WinLink is a kind of like an email-based process, communications process that you can use, but you use the radio to communicate with it, but it's like email, and so it works very well for things like emergencies. And we're doing emergency simulation with the Red Cross, and so we are very interested in anybody in this room or on the live stream. We're streaming this live, by the way, on the internet today. And if you're interested in this, you don't have to have a ham radio license. Priscilla doesn't have one, and she comes. You'll meet Priscilla. You're welcome. And we get together at Wednesday night, the first Wednesday of every month, and then we have all kinds of ongoing projects and things that are going on. Particularly now we're building out our facility and our tower and our whole operation up on top of Kickapan Mountain up above the.
So if there's something that goes down and you need to communicate with family, like say in California or Florida or wherever, we've got this broader network of communicators and ham radio operators to rely on to be able to get messages in and out, as well as a broader network to handle supply chain issues we may have. So I was going to give you a little tour of the website because there's a lot of really good information on here that I wanted to show you. So on the home page here, where you came to register, we also are going to be having the registration for the classes we have upcoming. So you'll find those two here for the next classes in April. And then I wanted to point out our resources page. So this page, you'll find the PDFs of some of the information that you're getting today, and the presentations from our preparation day last November are here in PDF form. And also we have a replay of the live stream, and we have downloadable presentations. Like, for example, the radio presentation. Everyone that has a radio, if you'd like, you can review the presentation that Josh Walton did, and then you could watch a video replay of that presentation as well to go along with the slides. And then if you scroll down, these are the various categories we're going to be covering, and there are a bunch of different resources in here. I'm going to be talking through some of these things today. For example, the family communication plan that you were given out today. And if you don't have one, we're going to be talking through it. There's some on the table over here. But those are available both in PDF and Word format. So when you fill out your own family communication plan, if you want to customize it for your family, you can use the Word version for that. We also have on here a recommended GMRS radio right here, a link to purchase that. And if you purchase one of those, you get in touch with me and we can program it for you with the local GMRS repeaters. And then there's other things like food and, resources for food and water, weather radios and things like that. Alternate power is something that needs to be considered as well, because if the power is out for extended amount of time, you're going to need, in addition to if you have like a portable generator, which a lot of people do, it's always good to have some solar power as well, and solar lighting and portable heaters and things like that. And then the radio page, there's detailed explanation here how to get your GMRS license. So we're going to be giving out these radios until we don't have any more. So if you want to go ahead and apply for the license here and then contact us, we will get you one of these radios. So if you didn't get one today, if you didn't get one this time, there's still a chance. You can go ahead and apply for that and let us know, and we'll get you a radio. And then lastly, this is a page to donate. So if you click on the donate link, it takes you right to PayPal. Well, that's it for that. All right, let's get this back up. Okay, also on the homepage, there's a place to sign up for email updates. So you want to be updated on what we're doing, make sure you sign up for that list. Okay, and I would like to introduce Art Cucinato, who is our new training director and the reason why we're able to have this program. So.
Thanks, everyone, for coming here. I'm not used to standing in front of a podium. I like to usually go out and work the crowd. So you may see me do some of that a little bit today. And so all the training program that we're developing and we're going to be rolling out over the next year and even further into the future really supports all these concepts that we've been talking about so far. So I just want to give you a little bit of my background so you know why I'm the training coordinator, okay? So worked for the federal government for many years, retired. My wife and I retired down to Morgan County around 2007. Spent 36 years working for the Department of Defense on a major quality system, and but did a lot of training for the Department of Defense also. Spent a lot of my avocation, my hobbies were in emergency medicine. I was a volunteer EMT for many years up in South Jersey, kind of due east of Philadelphia in the county, Burlington County. I became a paid paramedic, worked for a hospital up there part-time, so I was a paramedic supervisor. So I know a lot about EMS and had a lot of experience educating and teaching. We had a very large, in our county, there were 44 first aid squads, so pretty populous county up there. So we had a county-based public safety center there that trained police, fire, ambulance personnel at a forensic lab, an underground range, all kinds of stuff, central dispatch, but also had this first aid academy. So the first aid academy, we would run the EMT class twice a year for all the 44 squads in the county. So I've had a lot of experience teaching a lot of aspects, and also I led a lot of quality teaching programs for the Defense Logistics Agent in the Department of Defense. So my background is really heavy into education. So we have some training goals here, and really these are about the outreaching to you, what we're going to help you on. You're going to see all these categories in a minute, how we're going to help you come along if you feel you need some training in different aspects of this. So we're trying to get a baseline level of preparedness countywide for what we call our community. But the community is not only the county, it's within portions of the county, it's within subdivisions, all right? So it's really groupings of folks to kind of get this baseline level of preparedness, and we'd want to get it to you as quickly as we can. So we're going to prioritize the training classes, what we feel are the most important ones, and roll them out first. So we're going to do this training and what we call a collaboration, helping each other so that we can help to minimize the impacts of man-made and/or natural disasters. And you've seen a lot of those in the news over the last couple of years, the impact of some of the Florida, North Carolina, California, the fires, just what the impact has been in some communities. So Lori already mentioned and John mentioned that we're going to roll out this training plan of free monthly training sessions to Morgan County residents. So we're going to start here at the Greenwood School down the road by the observatory. And we're going to offer these training classes twice a month, a Saturday morning and then a Wednesday evening. It'll be the identical class, hoping to catch a lot of people. If we find that the class is getting a lot of attendance, the greater need, we may expand to areas a little bit west in the county also. So it depends on the need here. So the goal is really to expand the local resources and certainly our competencies in preparing for the possible disasters. So these are our training categories, and not necessarily in order of what we're going to be training. And some of these topics we will be covering multiple times because there's aspects or subcategories within each of these training topics. Obviously, communications, you're going to get a little tail end. Today's tail end, you're going to get some more communications training. We're going to cover the aspects of, how do you prepare at home for disasters, medical training. I'll go into that in depth in a minute here. All the way through personal security, security at home, outdoor skills. I just met an individual today that may be interested in helping with some of that. And just preparing, overall, the general concept of being prepared for different aspects of these natural or man-made disasters that get hit. So this is an example of what we're going to be doing in our training class. So the first training class is a medical. The subcategory is called bleeding, shock and wounds. It will be at the Greenwood School. Lori already just showed you on the website how you can pre-register for these training classes. It's important that we don't have walk-ins, that you do pre-register. Not that we want to keep people out, but we want to prepare for how many people we're going to have, how many instructors we might need for a particular topic. So it'll be on April 19th from 6 to 8, or April 23rd from 10 to 12 p.m. I have that wrong here. It's from 10 a.m. to noon. No, that's correct. 10 a.m. to noon, that's Saturday, and April 19th from 6 to 8. So the level of training that we're going for is what I call first responder level. Now, first responder level to me means you, the people in the general public, and/or police and fire personnel that necessarily have not been trained in emergency medicine. So that's the level of training we're going to keep it at. Keep it real basic. We're going to, this first class, you're going to be taught how to do a patient assessment. You're going to be taught recognition and treatment for shock. Then I'm going to go over some different types of wounds. But then we're going to do a lot of hands-on treatment for treating, for wound treatment. How do you actually do this with what you have at home? We'll be going over setting up a personal first aid kit for yourself, and I don't mean a commercial one. I mean, what are the basics that I think you should have to be able to treat for things at home? So first responder means in a disaster, or even in a non-disaster condition, something happens at home. What can I do until emergency services come out here? Now, we're pretty fortunate in this county. Yeah, we have paid outfits. But guess what? On every ambulance that responds in this county, there's an EMT, which is basic life support, and a paramedic, which is advanced life support coming out to your house. So first responder is, how can I stabilize the condition until emergency services comes out to take over for me? All right? If they do. Right, in the course of a disaster, and what we're going to be planning is how you can stabilize and maintain what you need to do if a big disaster comes in. So when we get on to future classes, different types of classes, we're going to be teaching, what do I have at home that I can use, not what do I have to go out commercially and buy to be able to treat for things in this nature. All right? So at this point, I want to go, everybody got a little emergency map and crisis guide in your bags. All right? So what I want to do is I'm going to go over just a little bit. What is that all about, really? Because when I first saw it, I was amazed what this was. So it was done in collaboration with many groups, but to include Jason Hoover from Emergency Services in the county. So on one side of it is what I call the resource side, the Morgan County resource side. All right, it talks about what resources are available for me, and more important, what are the Morgan County rally points? Where are the points that I can go if, in fact, the county believes that the disaster is such that they need to open up a rally point, open up a point. And then again, where all the fire departments are, where the hospitals are located, where the schools are located. Now, many of you probably know a lot of this, like the back of your hand. But this is a quick and easy guide. But what's on the other side of this map? Is what to do in an emergency. So things like the important phone numbers, the emergency radio channels, and things to do. Well, guess what the things to do portion of it's all about? It's about what our training is, the foundation for this training. Lori spoke about following the concepts of the contingency, what's called American contingency? American contingency. It's the same points are found within this map as going to be contained within our training classes. And then finally, what we call a blackout kit. So this is a nice quick guide. So if you don't have one, make sure you pick one up or more before you leave. All right, so what I want to do, before I get into my last slide talks about capabilities and skills matrix. So I want to divert for a second here. So let's just say I'm going to have an imaginary picnic down my house. I lived at the bottom of the county. By the way, I went out and I got built pavilions already. I got all the picnic tables and chairs. I'm ready to go for this. And the reason you're all here today was to help plan for this picnic, right? I mean, I know that's why you came, to help me plan for this imaginary picnic. So I want to know, how many hunters do we have in the group today? How many people are hunters? Okay, so can I ask for the hunters at the end of today's session, if you're interested in donating some venison, would you just sign up for that part for the picnic, if you would? And anybody have chickens? Anybody raise chickens at all? Oh, good. So I'll tell you what we need, if you're interested. We need some deviled eggs for this, and fried chicken also. So if you want to sign up for that would be real helpful for this picnic. So anybody good on making stews? Anybody good on stew? Good. So you can do that. Anybody have vegetable gardens in the summer? Anybody do vegetable garden? Yeah. So we could use some corn on the cob, and we could use some fresh vegetables for this picnic, by the way. And have any bakers out there? Anybody good on pies? So if a couple of people could sign for pies, and anybody else good on cakes? If you could sign up for doing our cakes, that would be great. All right. And but I need some volunteers for setup duty. Anybody interested in helping me set up? Okay, so if you'd sign up at the end for this picnic I'm going to have. And I need somebody to donate tablecloths and napkins. Anybody can do that? That's great. And finally, I need a cleanup crew. Anybody would help at the end of the picnic? That's great. All right, so what do we do here today, basically? We're using the community to help develop our capabilities and our skills to reach out so that know that I don't have to do this all myself. I don't have to provide for this all myself. All right. So that's the concept behind what we're trying to do here, is this whole training program and develop our skills. What we're going to eventually have is a skills matrix that says, hey, guess what? I know who can make pies, and I know who is good on cleanups, and I know a good place to go to for tablecloths and napkins. All right. So the first bullet talks about determining the skills and proficiency and resources. That's exactly what we just did for my imaginary picnic. That's exactly what we just did. And then, so examples like who's got medical skills? Who's got the backup for medical skills? All right, I'm sure there are people out there that have that. And by the way, what's going to happen here is that the next person up after me, Priscilla's come up. She's going to be talking about our our outreach program. And then she's going to talk about this capabilities and skills matrix a little bit. And then we're going to have a feedback form when we take a little break. And those feedback forms, part of what you can do on the form is to say, hey, guess what? I have some abilities to do some of the things we're talking about where there are 10 categories. You know, it would be a good resource for you, maybe to help. Maybe to help, teach on that, maybe to help teach a concept, all right? And, or guess what? I'm a good person you can go to help cut trees down, or I'm a good person you go to help, something fell in your house, and I can't get the car out of the driveway, right? So that's what we're doing. We're going to build up a skills and matrix and a capabilities matrix so we can all help each other. So when we get this up and running here, the information will be kept very confidential and won't be shared unless you want to help somebody, okay? And participation will be optional. So what are the kind of things we're talking about here on this? Well, just like I just did for the picnic, all right? How many people in the audience own chainsaws? A lot of people, right? Okay. How many people are on well water? All right. How many people have a whole house generator? All right. I mean, look at the hands that are being raised here. Who's got a front end loader, by the way? So about a half dozen people there. All right, good. Who might have an extra coat or jacket laying around in case of an emergency? Anybody a plumber here? All right, good. Anybody heat with wood? Wood stoves? All right. How about a truck with snow plows? Anybody have any snow plow? All right. How about some camping equipment, like for cooking, extra backup stoves or something like that? All right. Any carpenters here? Sure. And anybody might have extra sleeping bag you're not using in form of an emergency? All right. How about a lantern or oil lamps that you could have? All right. How about a portable generator? Anybody got a portable generator? So this is a skills and capabilities what we're building up here. That's the type of thing we're looking to drive towards that we can share to help the whole community on. That's the goal of this training program, is to help you prepare and to help you to prepare for your community, whether it be a subdivision, a section of the county, or the county in general. And that's what I have. So Priscilla?
Good afternoon, everyone. We're cooking right through here.
It's this up button right here, the little up arrow.
Thank you. Thank you, Lori.
We already went through that.
Yeah, that's not me.
Oh, I'm going the wrong way. There we go.
So the down button?
The down button.
Okay. We didn't rehearse. Thank you. How many of you here, by show of hands, were here last November when we had our Preparedness Day? It's probably, a third? Good. Welcome back. I hope you get in the habit of coming to our now monthly meetings. It was so successful, and it was thanks to you guys for the word of mouth and inviting your neighbors and your friends. I think between everyone in this room, we probably know about 17,000 people in the county. I'm not sure if we know everyone, but we're getting close. So I really appreciate you coming and inviting your friends, and think about the people you wish would come to these, the people who are near you, the people who know other people who would need to be here, and just spread the word. This is a word of mouth county, and I appreciate all the help to fill these rooms. So some of the things I've been tasked with are educating people about these sessions, and it's a big job. It's an unpaid job, so I do appreciate the way this town and county does spread the word. I am going to be establishing closer relationships with various elected officials. And incidentally, in one of our ham radio meetings, we had a drill. And everyone who was assigned, I think I might have been the mayor of the town of Bath, and someone else was a county commissioner. And it was interesting to see how fast in an emergency those official roles fell apart. And who came forward were the people who actually had leadership and good ideas and a clear head and an interest in helping. So everything kind of changes. Everything kind of changes in an emergency. We're also building relationships with local businesses and various organizations. Again, we'll be sending around a feedback form. If you know of people that you think should be here, please let me know. and I can help reach out to them. We have a member from the American Red Cross here today, so thank you for being here. I don't see you. Craig in the back, thank you for being here. I think we'll be doing some drills with them as well, privately. All right. We would like to have you stay in touch with us. I know a lot of you registered on preparemorgancounty.com. 7 of you did not, and that's all right. We got your number this way. We also have a Facebook group. Again, this county seems to be powered by Facebook. Morgan County Emergency Communications Network on Facebook. The paper, Morgan Messenger, has been great about covering our events, and I'm not sure if they're going to continue to cover our trainings, which because they're so often, but we'll...
They're going to be in, the Greenwood School has a blurb every...
Okay, that's right. So the Greenwood Community School or Community Center where we're hosting our future trainings will be putting they have a blurb every paper, and our trainings will be listed in that. So we will be mentioned in the paper under the Greenwood page. And then Signal's been in the news lately, everyone. I heard it got a reboot. But if anyone has Signal, can you raise your hand? Let's see, the Signal app, a handful of people. It's apparently encrypted, so, and it's apparently reliable, even when text messages maybe not so much and cell phone calls not so much. So do download Signal. We are networked on Signal, and we are chatting, and we planned a lot of this on Signal. So it's MoCo, very trendy name, MoCo Preparedness Network. And then if you have any questions, feel free to send an email to connect@preparemorgancounty.com. I think that will be forwarded to me. I'm happy to answer them. So yes, what can you do to help? Please continue to attend these training sessions. I think they're just going to get better, more exciting, more in-depth. Some of these topics are just life-saving and really important. So the monthly training sessions, again, are Wednesday and Saturday of the same week, once a month for the next 12 months. Tell others, like I said, and we would love volunteers. All of us are volunteers. We need all the help we can get. And if you know of instructors that would be great to handle a session or a topic, that would be wonderful. If you'd like to help me with outreach, I can't talk to everyone, and please do email, and I would love to meet up with you and get your help. We are also sending around these forms. Can you send a clipboard down the rows? I think I have 3 clipboards for each row. 5 clipboards, okay. So these are 2-sided forms, right? It's what level of interest do you have in our organization? How would you like to help? And any comments on the session. You feel free to keep your forms until the end of the day, and we will have a cardboard drop box. I think we have 2 drop boxes for the forms. So we would love to have you as a member. Like John said, I do not have a ham radio license. Don't tell him, but I'm not planning on getting one for personal reasons. Sorry. But I do have the GMRS radio, and that's good enough for me personally. If you're not a techie or you're not that interested in maintaining a lot of equipment, we still need your help, especially with this preparedness project. So you can join, and like Lori mentioned, we are a nonprofit. The Morgan County Emergency Communications Network is a nonprofit. We would love a donation. We would love you to join, even if you don't want to be a ham radio operator. And feel free to, like I said, fill out the form. I think I only have about 60 forms, so maybe think about 1 per household on the forms for today. You can join our organization by going to mcecn.org/join. That will actually generate an email that goes to our fearless leader, John Peterson, and he will take it from there. Eventually, we'll have an online sign-up, I think, right, for the membership. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you for being here. Is it a break time? Or 10-minute break? Yeah, 10-minute break. Fill out your forms. Thank you. Oh, there's some water in the back if you're thirsty. Thank you.
check, check. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Check, check. Check, 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 check. Check.
Okay, we're ready to get started again. Oh, I'm sorry. Come on up.
All right, everyone. Break is over. This is my least favorite thing is to yell at people. I guess that's why we need megaphones. All right, can you raise your hand if you still need to send in your feedback form, or are you just waiting? We do have a feedback form box walking around here. Joyce has that over there. And thank you. Can you also now raise your hand, and Mom, this is my mother, just ignore this part. How many are here from outside of Morgan County? Raise your hand. Wonderful. How many are here from out of state? Well, welcome. We hope your counties and states can copy us. I wanted to thank John Peterson for his leadership, because without him starting this project a handful of years ago, we would not be in the place we are today as a county. And we are making the case that Morgan County, West Virginia, is most likely the most connected, prepared county for any emergency because of what he showed you with the new building, the towers, the repeaters, the hundreds of radios that are now in people's hands, and now these training workshops that are going for the year. So we really are hopeful that nothing happens here where we're going to need these skills, but it's really nice to know that we're in a place that people care about making sure what happened to Asheville does not happen here, what happened to Tennessee does not happen here. And it's thanks to this man right here that we're all here today. Thank you.
Thanks, Priscilla. I have to get back to my slides here. Okay, so I'm going to spend a little time talking about emergency communication. So I want to introduce to you the PACE plan. How many here are veterans, have been in one of the services and know what a PACE plan is? A few? Okay, good. So PACE stands for Primary, Alternate, Contingency, and Emergency. And personally, I use a PACE plan for a lot of different things. Today, we're going to talk about it in the context of communicating, but just to give you an overview and understanding of what it is. P for primary, this means your preferred solution, so something that you use every day. When the primary no longer is working, you move to alternate. And your alternate method is a backup method that takes over once the primary fails. And it's something you can easily switch to that should be readily available to be retrieved. I don't know. We lost the... Okay, good. And then next after that, if your primary fails, your alternate method fails, you're on to your contingency. The contingency is your secondary backup method. It's usually more inconvenient. As we go through these, your solution becomes more and more inconvenient, but still effective. Probably not something you use very often, that you might have to make some extra effort to pull it out of storage or whatnot, but should be checked regularly, especially if it's equipment, communication equipment. And then emergency is your last resort method when everything else fails. So we're going to go through a couple of examples here. So my PACE plan, this is just an example. Your PACE plan could look different, but here's a PACE plan for water, for drinking water. Your primary source of water could be water from your tap. Now, for me, it happens to be water from my tap put through a Berkey filter, but that's your primary. Alternate would be, okay, if water's not coming out of the tap, what do I do next? Alternate could be stored bottled water in your basement or in your garage, and then when you run out of that water, then I might take my water filter and go to the stream and get some water and filter it. If the stream is polluted, then I'm in the emergency method, and that will be collecting rainwater and boiling it. So does everybody kind of understand what a PACE plan is? Primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. In communication, many of us, our primary method of communicating is our cell phone. So if the cell phone goes down, an alternate that you can arrange with your family and friends could be, let's say, email, because it's possible that the internet might still be up even if the cell signal is not working. And then if email doesn't work, if the internet goes down, then it's going to be the two-way radios, kind of like what we've been giving away today and what we gave away last fall. And then if that fails, then it's meet at a rally point. Say, my whole family understands if everything else fails, we're going to meet at this location. We're going to rally there and then figure out what to do next. Okay, so we passed out this family communication plan when you walked in, and this is something for you to take home and fill out. Like I pointed out on the website, we also have this available as a PDF download and a Word document download. So this is an example of how to try to cover all the bases, but your situation might be different, and that's where you could take the Word document and kind of customize it to your own needs. But the time to fill this out is before an emergency happens. Sit down with your family and have a discussion and figure out who would be a good out-of-town contact. Because if there is a major disaster here, it's helpful to have somebody that's out of town that different family members can all connect with. Then the next step on this plan is your secondary contact, which would be a local contact. That would be someone that you would choose for immediate coordination. It could be like a neighbor or a nearby relative or a close friend who can help you out if your primary contact isn't available. And then on the next page, we have medical contact. So here's a good place to put your family doctor. And then we move on to communication methods. So here you just talk about make sure that everyone in the family has important numbers saved in their phones, and then I would say also have them written on a piece of paper, because if the phone goes dead, then if you haven't all those numbers memorized in your head, then you might have trouble making a call. And that's exactly what this is here. You can just write everything down on this sheet, keep it in a safe place. Text messaging. So like in my family, we have a Signal text group. So we would say, okay, we're all gonna text on this Signal group. I don't know, like my family has a lot of different groups. We have Apple messaging, we have Signal, we have Telegram, we have all these things. So it's important to say which one we're gonna use. So you list the name of the app and the name of the group so everybody knows where to go. Zello is also another app that you can use. It's a push-to-talk app on your phone. It works like a radio. It has like a big button on the screen. You hold the button down to talk, similar to the way the radio works. Only Zello works when phone doesn't work, and sometimes even when text doesn't work, because it uses, and I'm not a technical person, but at American Contingency, we've used Zello for 3 different hurricanes. And when text messaging didn't work and the phones didn't work, Zello worked in every instance. So it's kind of a nice app to have for an emergency for the family. GMRS radios, so the walkie-talkies that we're handing out have GMRS channels. And I pointed out the GMRS radio on the website. This is the place where you would put the frequency or channel that your family would use. Should they need to use the radio. And then obviously we want to make sure that everyone in the family knows how to use the radio. And if your family GMRS call sign should be listed there, because just like on amateur radio, you're supposed to announce your call sign every 15 minutes. Ham radio, if there's a ham in the family, there's space here where you can put that information in. The license and also the frequency and the call sign and the time of day that you would be getting on to communicate. And then some people have satellite phones or satellite devices. There's room for that information. Now, we spoke about rally points, like in the map, but you could also have your own family, your primary meeting spot for your family. And this is a good place to put that, along with a secondary meeting spot if for some reason the primary one, gets washed out in a flood. Although you would want to choose a spot that, wouldn't be so prone to disaster. Backup power solutions is, this is to make you think about if the power were to go out for an extended period of time, how would you be able to charge your devices to be able to communicate? And so there are some reminders there, checkpoints that you can look at to make sure you have that covered. And then flipping to page 4, charging locations. Where I lived in Connecticut, we lost power due to an ice storm for about 10 days, and the local fire department set up charging stations for people to come and charge their devices, and they let us take showers and stuff. So if you know something like that ahead of time, that's a good place to put that information. And then, of course, having all of this written down would work a lot better if you practice it. You check your equipment, do a drill with the family, make it a fun thing. On the weekend, you could do a drill, like meet at a rally point or use your radios, things like that. And then, of course, you have to review and update this plan because sometimes things change. And then the last point there is to think about extended family and how they find out about, how you're making out and how to get information out to them. All right, so if anybody do we have more of these? Yes. Okay, so if you would like more for your family, just come over to the table and we'll get you fixed up. Okay, I want to make a point that even if you don't talk on these radios, you just turn it on and you could hear what's going on. There's a little button there that says scan, and I'm going to go into more detail on that, but you turn on the radio, hold your finger down on the scan button, and it'll start scanning, just like your FM radio in your car, and then it'll stop for a little bit on when it hears a signal, and if you want to just stay on that channel, you just hit the scan button again or hit the push-to-talk button, which is on the side there. And so you don't need to be licensed to listen to what's going on. So it's a great way to get situational awareness in an emergency. And you can use these radios in an emergency. So the emergency is considered potential harm to life, limb, or property. So these radios, you should take them out of storage if you have them in storage and charge them every 3 months. And if you don't have them in storage and you keep them out and handy, don't leave them on the charger because it's not good for the battery. You can take it off the charger and then put it on every so often to make sure it's topped off. I wanted to talk about protection from electromagnetic frequency. So we recommend you store have a Faraday container, and I have a little show and tell for that. I don't know if we have a camera that would capture this. Okay, so these here are Faraday bags. And so what you do, this one is for like an iPad size, tablet size, and this one here is for phone size. I like this size because I can put several devices in here. I could put a couple of radios and my phone, so it's kind of a nice size. They also have laptop sizes, and they even have large ones that you could put a generator in. We have a link to these on the resources page on the website. I believe it's Mission Darkness is the brand for this one. This is one of the brands that the government uses, so they've tested it and it meets military specifications. You don't want to go on Amazon and buy the cheapest Faraday bag because they're often not effective. So basically what you do is you take your radio and you put it in here, and then this is magnetic closure here. It folds over twice. And so this is made from material that protects it from signals and from electromagnetic frequency, and now your devices are protected. So the reason why you would need this is if we had like an EMP. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have heard that this is a potential threat, that if someone were to set off a bomb or explosion in the atmosphere, it could disable electronics, like your car, anything that basically has a circuit board would be disabled. But in a bag like this would be protected. So these bags are not, they're not cheap, but they are useful. And I also brought with me a homemade version. So this is a lot less expensive than, buying a bunch of those fancy bags. This is just, you can get this at a local hardware store, and then what you do is you line the inside with cardboard. And even the top gets lined. And then what you do is you put your devices in here, and obviously this holds a lot more than the little bag that I showed you. I had to empty this out to bring it here. And I actually have, at home, I have one that's about this high that's got, several ham radios in it and all kinds of geeky equipment. So you put your devices in here, and then you close it down tight. And then after you have it closed, you take some aluminum tape and you have to seal it. You seal where the connection is to make a Faraday cage. So that is a down and dirty, do-it-yourself Faraday cage. I just wanted to go over a couple of quick tips for the radio. I won't stay on this too long because I know everybody doesn't have the radios. But you. Okay, so turn it on with this little button right here. The button on the side here is push to talk, and when you use these, you have to hold the button down for a second before you start talking, and then talk like that, and then release the button. Make sure the button's down the whole time you're talking. And then you will see on here there's a blue button that says A/B. And you'll see on this radio here, it's got 2 frequencies. 1 and 2. So those are 2 different frequencies. You can listen to 2 channels at the same time, but you can only talk on one. So there's a little indicator to tell you which one you're on that you can talk on. That little triangle. In this example, it's showing it on both of them, but on yours, it'll just be one. And that tells you which channel you're on. If you want to switch and talk on the other channel, you just hit the A and B, the blue A and B button. Then, to change channels, you hit these up and down arrow buttons. Right here. Or you can type in the channel number. So if I want to go to channel 60, I can punch. I don't punch just 60 on the keypad. I have to punch 060 because it's 3 digits. Okay, so in your box you'll have a list of channels, and say you want to go listen to channel 60, just hit 060 and it'll take you right there. You don't have to hit the up and down button in 60 times. And the last thing, I mentioned the scan button, so that's always good. And then another good thing to know is there's a lock button. So if you find that you go to change the channel and nothing's working, it could be accidentally got locked. So if you hold down that little lock key, which is also the hashtag, or my husband says the pound sign. I'm hashtag because I'm like digital person. To me, it's a hashtag because I think of social media, but it's the pound sign also. You hold that button down, that will unlock your keyboard. So if you say you give one of these to your kids and you say, okay, these are the 2 channels we're going to use, and you don't want them to change it, you can hold down that lock button and then they won't be able to change it accidentally, which is a nice feature. I wanted to point out that it's good for everybody to have an emergency weather radio. And what's nice about this radio, and I have this linked on the resources page as well, is that there are multiple ways to charge it. So it's solar powered, it's got crank power, and then it also can be charged from the wall, or you can charge it like USB from your computer. And that's the other reason that this is nice is because it also has shortwave radio in addition to AM, FM, and it's got NOAA weather channels. So it's kind of, the shortwave is a good feature to have in these radios. This one I think is about $85. Okay, so we're nearing the end. We provided an update on MCECN, and we introduced the Morgan County Preparedness Project. We reviewed our plans for training, and we shared with you how to get involved and how to stay updated on what we're doing. And we explained how to create an emergency communication plan from your family. And then we gave you a few tips on the radios. So what's next? Next steps would be to register for the shock, wounds, and bleeding class coming up in April. And to do that, you visit preparemorgancounty.com. And then if you're interested in volunteering or donating, speak with the staff here today. And then sign up for our email list. There's a button to do that on the homepage of preparemorgancounty.com. And there's also, I have the QR codes that I'll put up again for both the email list and the Signal messaging group so we can stay in touch. And I wanted to give some time for questions, so. Okay, so does anybody have any questions?
If you can raise your hand, I'll run over with you run the mic to you.
Okay, thank you, Lori. I wanted to ask about the EMPs. So would we have any kind of notice of this where you go, oh, I need to put this in this bucket? I mean, and how long do you leave it in the bucket?
Exactly. Good question. No, there would be no notice. There could be, but chances are not. And what we do is you put things in the bucket that you don't need every day. I have duplicates. I have duplicate radios. I have radios that I keep out, and I have radios that I keep in the bucket. So yeah, unfortunately, that's how it has to work because we might not know. We might not get any notice.
How would you know how long to leave it in there?
Well, that's a good question as well. The EMPs are fairly quickly, but it depends on, there's different types of EMPs, different strength, different time that the pulses, some are quick pulses, some could be longer pulses. So honestly, I would leave it in for as long as you can because there could be an attack and then there could be follow-on attacks and you just don't know. You know what I mean? There could be like you could think you're okay and pull your stuff out, and then there could be another one. So it's a little iffy, and it's more just like I wouldn't pull it out like as soon as you need it. I would try to wait a little while to see if there's going to be any follow-on attacks, and just leave it in there. And then if you have more than one, like we like to say 3, right? 1 is none, 2 is 1, 3 is key. So 3 of these little handheld radios. 1 I keep out, 2 in the bucket. 1 I'll pull out of the bucket if I need it, and 1 I'll keep in the bucket in case there's a follow-on attack, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lori, thank you very much. One other nice feature about the Baofeng radios is that on the side of it, there's a little button that says FM, and you can hit that button and you can listen to the local FM radio station.
Yeah, good point. Thanks, Jeff.
You had a question?
No, they answered it.
Okay. Anybody else any questions?
Down here in the front.
All the way back. This is how I stay so thin.
I need to do more of that.
Okay, what frequency are the radios? They're not, is it shortwave or is it like the same frequency that the ham operators? I doubt if it's that, but.
There's a bunch, on the radios that we give out, there's a bunch of different frequencies. So we've got GMRS frequencies, which are, I think, channels 1 to 22 or something like that. And there's also MERS frequencies. There's some federal frequencies on there that you can listen to. And there's a couple of amateur radio frequencies. And I have Berkeley Springs Police. I have South Morgan Fire Department. So like you'll hear calls for this fire department on there. I forget what channel it is, but I also have the other fire departments in the county on there as well. So there's a bunch of different frequencies. If you look at inside the radio, in the box, you'll find a list, and it'll show you everything there.
Okay, as far as the Faraday bags and things, what if you wanted to build a larger than that? I mean, it has to be sealed with the tape, and I mean, would there be any training or anything on what it takes to protect your equipment?
I think we should do a training on that. We should have something on, maybe we can combine alternative power generation and shielding and do a session on that. This material that makes these mission darkness bags, they also sell, not this exact material, but the lining inside, they sell it in rolls. And so I bought these long rolls with, I don't know, it's 100 feet or something like that, because I want to build a custom box to roll my portable generator into, and then line that box with this material, and then seal it up, just because the generators now have circuit boards too. So, so there's a lot of different things you can do.
Thank you. Quick question for you. Is there a specific channel, or is there any channel that's any better than any other? The ones that are programmed in, that's a good one just to monitor, just to see what's going on in the area?
Well, if you look at the list, you'll see there's, I don't know which channel it is, but the KK3L repeater is the one on Cape Mountain that we do our weekly practice net on. So you could listen to that. Check the police and fire frequencies if that interests you. You could also monitor those. And I guess that's about it. GMRS, like when I listen to those frequencies, it's mostly like people on their farms, that they give the radio to their kids, and it picks up walkie-talkie chatter as well. So, I mean, if you're interested in that, you could listen to that. And John? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so John is saying when we have our tower ready on Cape Mountain, we're going to have a GMRS repeater on there, and that's programmed in the radios. I believe it's channel 8. Yeah, I forget, but it's GMRS 18 repeater channel. And we'll be doing, once that repeater is up and live, we'll be doing weekly nets. So everyone that has a GMRS license, you can listen for that. We'll probably do it on Wednesday nights when we do our net on the ham radio repeater as well. And you can be able to check in. That way you can check your signal from your location wherever you are. So that will be really good to know that you can hit that repeater, because if you can hit that repeater from your home or from your work or wherever, you're able to increase your signal, and like you can even get into Hampshire County or over in Hedgesville or up in Hancock. So it's a really good thing to have.
Another nice frequency to listen to is the National Weather Service 162.475 out of Hagerstown. It's not just weather, but it's all hazards, fires and earthquakes and things like that. So that's always a good one to listen to if you want to know what's going on around the area weather-wise. And
yeah, that's a good point, Jeff. In this, I did not include the weather channels in the scan feature. So when you hit scan and that radio starts scanning through all the channels, it'll skip over weather, because they're constantly going, and it gets really annoying. So if you want to listen to the weather channels on these radios, you have to look at your list and just go through those. I think there's 7 weather channels. Just go through one at a time, and then the one that comes in the clearest, that's the one you would monitor. And that's a good point, because when we have storms in the area or storms rolling in, it's really helpful to have that information. You get up to the minute information for your specific location.
These GMRS radios, the part where you said you give some kind of radio to your husband and you contact him, that was just a joke, right? Because I read the rules on there that you can't use that radio except in emergency, or you could end up in jail.
That's right. He has a GMRS only radio. He doesn't have the same radio that we have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then also, this is nitpicking, but that original GMRS radio, a list of stations that we were given out back in November, is off by 1 station. It's not that big of a deal, but I don't know if anybody ever adjusted that list, or anybody ever pointed out, or anybody cares. But
yeah, we care. I mean, follow up with me after, if you wouldn't mind, afterwards.
Yeah, and then The other thing was, so the Faraday bag, how much warning do you have to get your stuff into the Faraday bag?
Yeah, no warning.
No warning, yeah, okay. And then the ham operators, if there's no electric power, how do they use their radios?
They have backup power, and we're going to be offering training in that.
Thank you. So earlier this week, we were supposed to have a tornado drill. I saw that online. But my husband was at school and I was at the senior center and we never heard anything.
I didn't hear about it. Who was leading it?
I don't know. I saw it online. I just told my husband to expect that the kids were. Oh, it went off in Cape, she said.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that there was going to be a drill. I hadn't heard.
Yeah, the fire department in the town of Berkeley Springs put off a blast at exactly that time. That's what they did again the year before. So you'd understand what that particular fire.
What it sounds like?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good. Because, the siren here at this, I live next door. So the siren here at this building, it goes off like right in my bedroom window, pretty much. And it sounds like, it sounds like air raid, like what you would hear in World War II, air raid siren. I mean, that's what it sounds like. So, funny little thing. I'm a member of the fire department, so I asked the question, does everybody have pagers? Like, how do they know to come to a fire? Oh, yeah, everybody's got pagers. Okay, well, why do we need the siren? But they weren't giving it up, so.
The same debate that goes on in town with the one on the ice house.
Yeah.
But if you're not next to anything, how else are you supposed to know? Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's also annoys a lot of people.
I mean, this is really loud. I mean, my son in Hedgesville on the other side of the mountain can hear it. So, any other questions?
I've got a question. I monitor all EMS systems because I was there previously for a lot of years.
Can you start again, sir?
Okay, I monitor all EMS systems. I live in Hancock, okay, because I was a previous in the system, so it's hard to stay away from that. But my problem is this, the dispatchers in Morgan County, half the time you can't hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
They're either no modulation or they're away from their microphone. Something that needs to be changed if we got to depend on that.
Yeah. I have a hard time myself, too. Like, they have how they have that Broadcastify app that you can hear everything. I cannot, like, coming out of my phone, I can't hear anything. That's why I turn on my radio, because the audio is so much better. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Sometimes I go to the Facebook Eastern Panhandle working fires because I can read better than I could hear. Any other questions?
Lori, is everybody aware of the site that the county has set up where you get notified for emergencies?
Can you ask that again? You need to have a mic.
I don't know if everybody's aware of it. Morgan County, I know, has a place to sign up for emergency notifications. They'll do text messages, they'll do email messages, and if you get it on in the Morgan County website, I don't know exactly which one it is, but you have a way to sign up, and they will send you notifications automatically, whether it's a drill or whether it's an actual emergency.
Yep, I signed up for that when I moved here. I think it might be on the emergency management section, or it might even be on the homepage too. I think it might be there. Any other questions? So how many here think you'd be interested in attending the training that we have coming up over the next 2 years? Great. All right. Okay. Well, if there's anybody here that is willing to help the instructors, like be an assistant instructor, I know it's kind of scary to think about leading a class, but if you're interested and you want to start out, it's a great way to start out, just to be an assistant instructor. See Art Cucinato over here, and we look forward to seeing all of you at future sessions, training sessions, and also engaging with you in social media and email and whatever else in between. So. Does anyone else need to say anything before I go? Close up? No? Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it.